This is the craziest architect I have ever seen. He poured his daughter in a concrete pillar. 15 years later, another girl, Xiaoli, graduated from college. Her father gave her a present. Let her supervise the blasting of a building. If it succeeds, you can become the CEO of your father's company. This building is the legacy of famous architect Lao Zhang. The walls of the building are very strong. Such a high-quality building. Why do you want to dismantle it? Mary and her son Pony live in the building. There is also an old woman and a disabled old black. There are no residents nearby. Xiaoli can only live in the building temporarily. The pony helped her with her luggage and told her some precautions. For example, be sure to stay away from the 8th floor and the roof. When she came to the room, the photo on the table is the photo of the girl buried alive at the beginning. In the evening, when Xiaoli took a bath, I heard someone calling her name, and the sound seems to come from the wall. The next day, she measured and found that the wall spacing and design were very irrational. When I passed the 8th floor, I found that the whole floor was locked. In the small room on the top floor, Xiaoli found Pony's adult magazine and his diary. In the diary, besides praising Xiaoli's beauty, it's just some incomprehensible records. Xiaoli wants to solve the secret about the building. So, when I went to the convenience store, I couldn't help searching the history of the building on the internet. It turned out to be in this building, 16 living people, including architects, was found in the wall. This is also the main reason why the building needs to be blasted. The architects are dead. Why did the pony say that the architect lived on the 8th floor? After returning, Xiaoli asked the pony. In order to prove his own words, the pony decided to steal his mother's key at night. Take Xiaoli to the 8th floor to find out. Xiaoli didn't stop working either. She just scratched the blasting point on the wall. Old Black smashed open the wall with an axe. The old woman suddenly appeared. I stuffed Xiaoli with a book, turned and left. Xiaoli opened the book in the evening, and there was a sentence in the book that said, "Fear and death can prolong the life of buildings." That's what the Egyptians did. They sacrificed the living. Built in the wall. Xiaoli was ecstatic. The sudden knock on the door startled her. It was the pony who got the key to the 8th floor. He also talked about the secret about the 8th floor. In those days, the residents here kept disappearing, until a little girl was kidnapped. His dog was on the 8th floor, and smelled her in the walls of the architect's room. All the missing people have been found. The pony's father was among them. Open the door. The first thing that comes into view is the portrait of the architect. A figure flashed by in the darkness. Then, the pony suddenly disappeared. Strange nursery rhymes sounded in my ears. Xiaoli kept running and running. The dark building is like a maze. Trapped Xiaoli to death. At a critical juncture, the pony reappeared and took her out of the 8th floor. Back in the room, Xiaoli took off her pants. The cut on the knee was exposed, and the pony wiped the cut hand. Began to get restless. Xiaoli froze. In her eyes, the pony is just a child. Late at night, a pair of white arms, forcibly dragging Xiaoli into the wall. Cement submerged her little by little. She was breathless with fear. Fortunately, it was just a dream. At this time, it was already dawn. Xiaoli, who hasn't recovered yet, turned head and was scared by the blood-red cross out of thin air on the wall. Subsequently, it turned out to be her boyfriend. Xiaoli asked him in surprise, "How did you get in here?" Boyfriend said, "Your door is unlocked." Accompanied by her boyfriend, Xiaoli came to the 8th floor again, and the gate on the 8th floor was unlocked this time. Xiaoli and her boyfriend sneaked in. Mary was found paying homage to her dead husband. Mary said strange things like being relieved. After Mary left, two people are not careful. It was locked on the 8th floor. Inadvertently, they found a direct passage to the 1st floor. Xiaoli also found a small window facing her bathtub in the middle. The voice calling her name in her shower before. It should have come from here. That night, something unspeakable happened to the two. Pony hiding behind the wall. My heart is very painful. The next day, the pony knocked on Xiaoli's door. He was sent an architect's manuscript. From the manuscript, Xiaoli found a mysterious passage in the center of the building. Without thinking about it, the three men came to the 8th floor again. But halfway through, the pony disappeared again. Xiaoli and her boyfriend searched everywhere. Just next to the cabin on the roof, they discovered the mysterious passage. Deep in the passage came the pony's cry for help. To make sure you can pull both of them up, my boyfriend decided to stay at Donko. The rope has just been put halfway. My boyfriend was stabbed to death by a sharp weapon in the dark. Xiaoli, who heard the sound, looked up. Her boyfriend's blood flowed down like a waterfall. Xiaoli also lost her balance, fell down. In a dark room, the old man's face slowly became clear. It turned out to be an architect who died long ago, and the pony's cry for help that Xiaoli heard before. It was just a short recording. At this time, the lid above the passage is opened. The pony stood at the entrance of the passage. It turned out that he planned all this, and the reason turned out to be that he fell in love with Xiaoli. Trying to keep her in this way, the pony's extreme love was finally exposed. Mary hated the architect for killing her husband. For 15 years, Mary imprisoned him here and tortured him constantly, even in order not to let others find out. She and her son are here in isolation. Once again, the passage was closed. At the same time, the blasting team has arrived at the building. The architect suddenly knocked Xiaoli unconscious. Xiaoli thought the architect was going to kill herself. Unexpectedly, he committed suicide. This man who has been pursuing perfect architecture all his life. Finally, I choose to integrate my body with my foundation. Make your own masterpiece. Just 1 second before the building was about to explode, the pony finally couldn't bear to kill Xiaoli. He rushed in and opened the tunnel. Xiaoli just looked up. The pony jumped down. Just beside Xiaoli, she slowly closed her eyes. At the end of the story, this dusty building with too many evils finally got what the architect wanted. It survived forever.